Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. As we begin our service today, I'm going to ask that we turn off or silence all cell phones or electronic devices. Thank you very much.
Adonai Adam Vatedrechu Ben Enosh Vachashvechu Adam le'avel dama Yamav ketzelover Babokeh atzitz V'chalav la'erev D'molel v'yavish Tashev enosh Adakava Tomer Shuvu v'nei Adam. Oh God, what are we that you take knowledge of us, or you make account of us? We are like a fleeting breath, our days are as a shadow. In the morning we flourish and grow up, and in the evening we are cut down and wither. You turn us to contrition and return to me. Oh, that we were wise and would consider our final end. The glory of humankind resides with us, the living and eternal memory we endure, for the heritage that we leave. We gather today with all our hearts, souls, and minds with the beloveds of Mary, the ones who will always cherish her memory, Lidor Vador, from generation to generation, the ones who will always cherish the memory, and we pray that those memories always bring a blessing to you. So on behalf of Larry, Linda and Miles, Stephanie and Keith, Sam and Kayla, Sydney, Jordan, Jessica and Lenny, Georgie, Rosie and Leo, we ask God to heal their hearts. We ask God to bring them what we call in Judaism, Oseh Shalom, to make peace for them. The direct definition of peace is, and shalom is completeness and totalness in your hearts. So we pray that the memory of Mary always brings completeness and totalness in your hearts. So her memory is always a blessing, as we all say. Amen. And as it is tradition in Judaism, we also pray that in your homes, in the future, no rush, that there will be little Marys running around, for they are and will be taught that they are named after someone that we gather with love today. If you are wearing a black ribbon, please rise. In ancient times and even today, many Jews who lose one as beloved as Mary tear a piece of clothing That's symbolic of our heart is rendered, your heart is torn, and it is up to all of those here today to heal your hearts for however long that may take. Other Jews wear a kriya pin. That's also symbolic of a rendered, a torn heart. You wear it for 30 days from today, no matter what clothing you're wearing, no matter where you are, no matter whom you come into contact with, to let those know that you have lost one as cherished as your Mary. Please repeat after me. Baruch atah Adonai Dayan Ha'emet, praised are you, eternal judge. Adonai Natan Va'adonai Lakach Yehi Shem Adonai Mivorach. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh. Praise be the name of the Lord. Please tear your ribbon about a half an inch from the bottom or the side, and you may be seated. In the 23rd Psalm, King David writes that God will walk us through the valley of the shadow of death. King David never writes that God will leave us there. So one day, when you wake up, what will be left in your hearts are simply the joy-filled, happy memories of Mary, and those will be the memories that will last a lifetime. If you know the traditional words of the 23rd Psalm, please say them out loud from your heart. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We begin and continue words of love for our Mary as we call up with love, Steffi.
Before I get started, a lot of you have asked. My mom would not be happy with me in a just solid black dress today, so I had to put on a little jazzy over top just to represent my mom today. So, I'm Steffi, Mary's daughter. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for coming today to celebrate my mother's life. We're really happy that everyone's here today, and we're so appreciative for everybody's love and support. Thank you, friends and family, and the Lionsgate family that are attending via Zoom. And a special thank you to Dr. Overbeck and the PTs and OTs at Lionsgate, and especially Dawn, my mom's nurse at Lionsgate, who has taken such good care of my mom the past 6 months. As I was thinking back on how to prepare for this eulogy, I really saw my mom's life that has come full circle. She started life as a survivor. Then, in her late teens and early 20s, she became a determined and driven young woman. Later in life, she was a Renaissance woman and toward the end of her life, a survivor again. Just to give you a little bit of history, when my mother was very young, she lived with her father, Joseph Brody, a Red Cross ambassador, and her mother, Fanny. My mother, she was an only child. Her father traveled all over the world for his job. As a young girl, my grandfather's job took my mother to Japan for a year, where she lived and went to school. My mom loved that time of her life and shared with us wonderful memories of her time abroad. But later in her childhood, my grandmother became sick and was hospitalized. Because her father was always traveling for his job, she had no choice but to go live with her aunt and uncle. Living there provided her with basic necessities, but provided her with little love. It made me very sad to hear her speak of this time of her life, and it really made me understand how not having a loving family influenced many of the struggles later in her life. But my mother was driven, she was smart, and she was a determined young woman. She excelled in school, and she graduated top of her class from West Philly High. Back then, many women didn't go to college, but my mom was driven to get out of her current situation and attended Bucknell University. She then transferred to University of Pennsylvania. Mom would share stories of her time at Penn. She was very happy there. She was in a sorority, she was a cheerleader, and she loved her classwork. She was on scholarship at Penn and was always driven to do well. That was until Dad showed up. They met at horseback riding camp with Elaine. That was before her senior year in college, and Dad swept Mom off her feet. Dad was pretty charming back then. He still is. Returning back to Penn, Mom was in love, and Dad was a distraction, resulting in Mom losing her scholarship her last semester before graduating. But she did graduate with a degree in physical therapy from Penn. Her first job was a PT at Shriners Hospital for Children. As she became a wife and a new mother, my mom didn't have a mother or sisters to help support her, teach her how to raise a family. My mom was self-taught. As I remember my childhood, my mom taught herself how to cook and sew and be the best version of a mother and a wife she knew how to be. She taught herself how to be a wonderful cook, a trait passed down to my sister. She learned how to sew clothes for my sister and I, picking out the fabrics, sitting down at the sewing machine, and producing beautiful summer dresses. She learned how to make a beautiful home for our family and started wonderful traditions like baking Hamantaschen every year with my sister and I. Friends were always invited, and having beautiful family holiday dinners for Rosh Hashanah and Passover with my dad's extended family, even though my mom didn't really have a strong Jewish upbringing. My mother was beautiful when she was young and even older. She had sparkling blue eyes, also a trait inherited by my sister, and always took great care of herself. As a young woman, she dyed her hair blonde and concocted homemade beauty treatments like wrapping her hair in mayonnaise. I guess that was a 70s version of a hair mask. She exercised every morning. This was way before people ever went to gyms. She followed a strict program of the Royal Canadian exercises, and every morning would be running in place, doing push-ups and working up a sweat. Her hard work paid off. She always looked great. Even when my parents didn't have a lot of money, my mom knew how to look fabulous, be on trend, fashionable, stunning, elegant, even with a small budget. Long Beach Island was my mom's happy place. My mom was a true sun goddess and sat on the beach for hours soaking up the sun and feverishly reading all of the summer's bestsellers. It was cute. I'm looking for my friend Lisi. There she is. I was just talking with my friend Lisi a few days ago, and she said, I remember your mom on the beach in her bikini. She always looked great. It made me smile as we reminisced of happy times on LBI, especially the image of my mom in her cute bikini with her 2 pigtails, with yarn ribbons in her hair, driving her gigantic, big convertible Cadillac with the top down. We had big family dinners on LBI with the Kramer family, wherever they are. And even bigger laughs with my dad and my Uncle Herbie as they were up to some crazy boating adventures and doing something crazy. What wonderful memories and happy times for my mom and our family. Many of my friends are here today, and I can't go on with my story without mentioning my mom's time as a substitute gym teacher. She did that several years, and my friends referred to my mom as Sergeant Dickler. We all laughed. I warned them, but they didn't listen to me. They thought if they buddied up with her, and she would be most lenient and perhaps cut them some slack. But no, not my mom. She made them run an extra lap around the track. No favoritism with Big Mare. Oh boy, I was happy to transfer to private school. The next phase of my mom's life came after her divorce. She tried to be that magazine pictured housewife, but always had her very own strong opinion and was forced to surge forward with starting a new life. That life was all about Mary, and for me it was okay. But she was challenged to be independent, just like her childhood, and I believe she was back in survival mode for a short time. It was not easy for her, for she had lost her family, my dad's extended family, lost in the divorce. Starting over in her late 40s was frightening for her. She moved all the way to the other side of the city to a condo on the 17th floor to start her new life. She made new friends. She had some good boyfriends and some not so good boyfriends, but she never sat idle, running here, going there. She went to the ballet. She went to the opera. She loved the Philly Pops. She became very involved with the Variety Club charities, raising funds for disadvantaged children. She traveled, really traveled, through Europe and exotic locations like Egypt and Morocco. Her love for learning and exploring never stopped. She read the paper every day, did the crossword puzzle religiously, loved to watch TV and loved to watch Jeopardy on TV. She had a love for needlepoint and crochet, but she just didn't have time for those quiet hobbies anymore. Golf was now her sport, and she was good, really good. She joined Bala Golf Club and was a member of the competitive team, and she loved it. She loved winning, and she loved her trophies. Now, anyone who knew my mom knows we can't move forward without mentioning Mom's biggest love, shopping. Oy vey, that woman could shop. Even in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, I just couldn't keep up, going to 5 stores to find the best deals. Did I mention she had great taste? She really did. Her shopping buddy, Carol, who's here today, would go with my mom to what I believe was hundreds of craft shows and jewelry shows, but it wasn't always about the clothes. She also had a closet full of furs. Thank you, Carol. I'm not sure if I can even describe her closet to you. One might think I was exaggerating, but the only way I could explain it was like Mare had 10 different pairs of white pants, then several different pairs of off-white pants and 8 different styles of cream color pants, and so on and so forth. I guess you can catch my drift. And the shoes, Carrie Bradshaw would be impressed. She was proud of her things and never took any of her purchases for granted. Her closets were the most organized collection of fashion trends. My girlfriend Robin is here today, and she decided to take up golf. As soon as my mom heard that, she invited Robin over to the golf section of Mary's custom closet and properly fitted her with outfits that she passed on to Robin, so Robin could look fabulous on the golf course. She didn't care how well Robin played. As I mentioned before, Mary always left the house looking fabulous. Hollywood-styled sunglasses, styled in her designer discounts, and often complimented by onlookers. Even as she got older, she didn't let the walker cramp her style. As my sister and I got older, my mom was blessed with grandchildren, and she did her best, Mary's best, to find commonality and bonds with each of her grandchildren. Mom shared her love of athletics with Sydney and would love to spend time in the basement coaching Sid with gymnastics moves and cheerleading routines. And she loved to attend Sydney's competitions. Kayla and Mom loved to share, had a love of books and reading, the arts, and most recently have been working on crocheting a beautiful Afghan together. Jordan and Mom spent hours together discussing current events, including politics and the economy. Mom was very proud of her grandchildren. As Mom got older, it was her body that forced her to slow down. Now hobbies like mahjong, bridge, canasta filled her time. Mom didn't like slowing down. She always liked going and doing, and she loved her independence. She moved to New Jersey 6 months ago to be closer to Linda and I so that we could help her as she was slowing down. She did like her sunny new apartment, but she didn't like losing her independence. All that being said, if I could think of a song that would summarize my mom's life, I would think of one of her favorite singers, Frank Sinatra, belting out the song, "I Did It My Way." Yes, that would be her song, and she would sing along with Frank proudly. 2 things before I conclude. First, I never really talked about the bond, love, and respect my mom and dad had for each other. They always remained friends and shared a very special love. Daddy, thank you for always taking such good care of Mommy. Mommy, I wish you I wish you peace and know how much you are loved. I will miss you so much, and I love you so much. Thank you.
With love, we call up Larry.
study friends and I have stayed relatively close. We see each other. Well, there's a date every month to love dancing. Jennifer Shore, Neil, and these are Steffi's lifelong friends. I'm blessed to have my buddy Donnie Michelle, who's honored us here today. I'm blessed to have the Gomer family. I'm blessed to have my son-in-law Miles, Keith. Miles has brought wonderful joy in my life. A little about Miles, graduate University of Pennsylvania, financial end, so he watches over me in that area. And we ever need a good lawyer. Mary and I had a very special relationship. We met, I think it was sabbatical from a full-time job that I had while I was in college. I think a job as athletic director at a ranch store. Believe it or not, I sell pretty good food at that shop. And we bonded that summer, being so close proximity. Elaine, her girlfriend, is here, who shared that summer with us. Some stuff she could talk about, something she had. I trust her judgment. The irony is, her long-time first mate, her fiance, and I played with the same baseball team in high school. I look around and I'm holding the hand of an incredible guy. I'm working on this two-handed set job a little bit. He's really from the wall. The Gomer family is part of my family now. And with the summer venue and me having the luxury of a beautiful yacht, and we spent a great deal of time together. I spent a great deal of time when they are available with my beautiful grandchildren, Sydney, and this is the prince. The prince has earned that title because the women just told people. And my beautiful granddaughter, Kayla. Two kids that bring me tremendous pride. Sydney is well in her, as an executive with the NRA, Ironman. Jordan is MBA in accounting, and he's going to be a doctor of science. So I want to thank you all for coming. I am a very blessed guy. I have a friend named Michelle here, friend for 100 years. Elaine, who shared that summer with Mary and I, and Mary knows most of Stephanie's friends. My beautiful daughter Linda, Miles. My daughter has just told me, shut up. Which I appreciate, but I only listen to her occasionally. She never gives me the advice. So I want to thank all of you for coming to the service, which is really honoring the existence of Mary Brody Dickler. Mary was a wonderful wife, wonderful companion, and wonderful mom, and great. So with that, I'm going to say that. I forgot to mention my right hand, my beautiful fiance.
Certainly, in many relationships, that you had with Mary, you called her by many different names of love, depending on if it was a family member, a nickname, a special name, a funny name. When we say the words, "we will remember," please say out loud, if you had the honor and the privilege of knowing her, please say the name out loud that you called her in this life, that you will have the honor of calling her whenever you think about her. Say that name out loud. In the rising of the sun and at its going down, we will remember. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember. In the blowing of the wind and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember. So long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us, as we will always remember. With love, we call up Jordan.
So for those who don't know me, I'm the prince according to my pop-up. So that's who he was referring to there. Thank you everyone for attending my mom's funeral. I'm sure she is looking down on all of us here today, thankful of all the wonderful people who are here in attendance. I'm sure everybody here has different memories of my mom, but I'm here to talk about some personal experiences and why I love my mom. One of the things I've always looked up to her was her willingness to stand up for herself. As many of you know, my mom was tough as nails. Through her character, I always learned to stick up for myself, especially in some of my toughest moments. Whether it was times of sticking up to the bully in elementary school or getting over a breakup, I always knew I could go to her to give good advice. She always gave me the confidence to stay strong and move forward in those situations, while complimenting me when I needed it the most. I want to thank my mom for teaching me confidence and self-worth. I wouldn't be the man I am today without watching her own self-love and always believing in herself through good and bad times. Not to brag about my mom, and you guys heard it before, but you know how on point she looks with her outfits. Every time I see her, she would be dressed up in the stylish earrings, fur coats, and always knew how to steal the show. Her sense of fashion allowed her to shine in every event she attended. People say, when you look good, you feel good. I learned from my mom that dressing nicely really allows you to feel your best. My mom was also extremely bright. From attending UPenn to watching the latest Jeopardy, she was always willing to learn and exercise her mind. Growing up, I always learned playing strategy games with my mom. One specific game we played together recently was Rummy Cube. My mom was a whiz at the game, and she always knew the best strategies. My family and friends all now play the game, and I always use her strategies to try to win. I have a passion of playing trivia games as well, and her passion of knowledge definitely allowed me to find my passion in trivia. I hope my mom is now in a better place, living her best life, playing golf on a sunny day, while continuing to do whatever the hell she wants to do without anybody stopping her. I'll always miss and love you, Mom. Love, Jordan.
Keith.
Old man glasses, sorry. For anyone who doesn't know who I am, I'm Keith Gomer. I'm Stephanie's husband and Mary's son-in-law. But I'm here as a designated reader today. Carol Arenberg, who's sitting in the fourth row, give us a little wave, Carol, wanted me to read something on her behalf for Mary, and I was happy to come up here and do so. Carol's a very dear friend of Mary's. For the past 40 years, I have spent more joy time with Mary than with anyone else. We were like sisters, born to different mothers. We spent every weekend for years together. We loved to shop, go to craft shows, art shows, specialty marts, flea markets. Mary would scope out where we should go, and off we went. We traveled together. I was introduced to Mary 40 years ago on a cruise vacation. We tested new restaurants together and went back to eat at the places we loved. Mary and I were an unlikely pair, very different in our temperaments, LOL. But the thing that made our relationship work is I loved her unconditionally and she loved me unconditionally. I know that to be true. During the past year, when we were both medically challenged, we never stopped talking. Mary and I will always be connected, just like sisters. I love you, my sister, and I will miss you terribly. Carol, I know she loved you very much. That was very nice. Thank you so much. Mom, rest in peace, please. Thank you.
If you are able to, we rise for the El Malei Rachamim, the prayer of our departed. Emorei Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hametzei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Ashchina, Im Kedashim Etorim Gezara Rakia, Mazirim Et Nishmat Mary Bat Fanny and Joseph Shalach Leolama Barachamim Yastireha Beseter Kenafav Leolamim Vitra Hachaim En Nishmata Adonai Hunacharata V'yanuach B'shalom Al Mizkava V'nomar Amen. And once again, in the space provided, please say the name that Mary will forever be known to you as. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence too. Who has entered eternity, O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bonds of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. You may be seated. Before we conclude with the mourner's Kaddish, the family would like those who would choose to give in the name of Mary from your hearts to give to Shriners Hospital for Children. Their website is lovetotherescue.org. And for those who would like to further paying respect to the family, straight from this service, you may go to 30 Remington Drive in West Berlin, New Jersey. 30 Remington Drive, West Berlin. Please rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich machutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imeru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mivarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroma v'yitnaseh v'yitada v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imeru amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael V'imeru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael V'imeru Amen. And finally, when I die, if you need to weep, cry for someone walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around others and give them what you need to give me. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your simchas and multiplying your mitzvot. You can love me most by letting me live in your deeds and not on your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, remember what our tradition teaches. Love doesn't die, only people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. You may be seated. Services at the chapel at this time are concluded. I ask you to remain seated.